Walk the stairs or ride an elevator? It's a decision most of us make every day. Well, the choice is simple these days for one woman who was trapped in a plummeting elevator. Phil Schumann has details on the terror ride that dropped her right at death's door.
It was just plummeting. It just plummeted. And I knew we were all going to die.
For Paula Nichols Clement, it was 15 seconds of horror trapped inside a free-falling elevator. This scene from the movie Speed shows just what Paula went through when the elevator cable snapped and the brakes failed.
I remember the scrape of the brakes on the side.
Paula, who lives in New York City, is still haunted 8 years later by the terrifying accident that left her right leg partially paralyzed and halted a promising modeling and acting career. Paula, now a blonde, had just finished an audition in this building in Manhattan when she stepped onto this elevator on the 10th floor with 8 other people.
I said to a friend of mine, "Hold the elevator." Famous last words.
Paula knew something was wrong when the elevator wouldn't move and the doors wouldn't open. The next thing she felt was the uncontrollable free fall of the elevator.
And I just turned my head and lowered it and prayed to God and just waited to die.
Richard Canis was also on the crowded elevator, but instinctively stepped off before the doors shut. He says he was in no rush that day. He describes what he heard from the lobby of the 10th floor after the doors shut.
The most loud explosion I had ever heard, an incredible noise. And it had to be the elevator plunging down into the ground floor.
And I was thrown up. I hit my head on the roof or ceiling of the elevator, and as I was up there, I was looking down, and I could hear myself screaming.
And a bunch of us ran down the stairs. I remember thinking to myself, nobody could survive that.
Miraculously, everyone did, despite the incredible force with which that elevator hit. What's that impact like? Well, take a look at this demonstration we set up using an old refrigerator at the A1 scrapyard in Sun Valley, California. Now, that's about 30 feet high. Keep in mind the elevator fell from 100 feet, but watch what happens when this thing hits the ground. Paula was hurt the worst of the 8 passengers, suffering severe head injuries and a fracture in her spine affecting the movement of her legs. She now wears a brace and gets around with a wheelchair. She can walk without it, but not for very long distances.
I spent 4.5 months in the hospital. They had to teach me how to do everything all over again.
After 2 years of being homebound and struggling with depression, Paula decided to try modeling again. She became the first woman in a wheelchair hired by a major modeling agency. At size 14, Ford hired her to their Big Beauties division. She even bought a horse and learned how to ride. While she rides the horse with confidence, Paula says it's a bit tougher riding elevators these days.
Elevators? That's a dirty word in this house. I have had to take them. But now when I go on a job, I walk up the stairs. I'll go an hour early. Even if it's a job 15 floors, 50 floors. I've gone 50 floors.
And you know, we've all thought about stepping on that elevator and what if from time to time. Well, Paula received a little less than $500,000 in damages from the building's owners.